Hello and welcome to Drive-In Double Feature Podcast. I'm Nathan,
I'm Ryan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get into this week's movie, I want to talk to you about our Patreon. If you head over to patreon.com/Drive-In Double Feature Podcast, you get some fun bonus content just for $5 a month, and you help support the channel. But getting into this Tuesday's movie, we are starting up a new series. So we just finished up Dirty Harry. That was over like that, very quick. But today we are going to start something a little bit longer. We're going to be talking about the Saw franchise. So before I even introduce the first Saw movie, I'll ask you, Ryan, what is your experience with the Saw franchise?
Well, I have not seen the whole series,
Mhm.
so I would like to get as much in as I could because I remember bailing on the series right around five, I think, is when I bailed
Yes, yeah.
because I was just like, this is getting really convoluted and like way too overcomplicated for this movie. But I remember, I remember when Saw came out, and
Mhm.
like what a big deal people were making about it. Like, oh my God, this movie's insane and
Mhm.
it's crazy. And just I watched it and like for the time being, I remember it being like a little disturbing because you don't see like those types of movies back then because this is 2004.
Yes, yeah.
So I don't remember seeing anything like it before that. But then around that time, like a lot of those movies like Hostel and other like torture porn or whatever you want to call it type of movies were in there. So they all sort of kind of blended together. But this movie kind of created a genre a little bit with like the death game stuff. So
Mhm.
um but I remember renting it from Blockbuster and thinking like, oh wow, that was really good. Like I liked
Mhm.
it quite a bit. And I was thinking like, wow, that was great. I can't wait for the next one type of thing. And I remember renting the other ones like as they came out. And then like I said, by the fifth one, that's when I was kind of like, yeah, I'm not really feeling this anymore.
Yeah, and I totally get that. That is serious burnout because one thing about Saw was not anymore, but it was a yearly franchise. If it was October the following year, you had a new Saw come out. And just like you alluded to, Saw is convoluted. It's all focused on its timelines and its movies intermingling, all with a big twist at the end. They definitely hit the same beats. But that's kind of what I love about it. And looking back on it, I first saw in
Hmm.
2005 when Saw 2 had just come out. And my family, we rented Saw 1. And I was really young and I loved it. I watched Saw 1 and I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, wow, the twist, everything it works. I thought it was great. Went out and we rented Saw 2, really enjoyed it. Following year, we rented Saw 3. Once again, I really enjoyed it. And then I've seen every single Saw except for the 10th one in the movie theater past that point. Not the 10th one, sorry. 7. My bad. Saw 3D was the one that I skipped. That was the one I was like, all right, I'm out.
I
Um
can't wait to watch this in 3D though.
yeah, well, if you get a copy, I think you can get some nice 3D glasses and wear them at home, which is awful. As always. Whenever they bring the 3D home, it's always a bad idea. Except when they had 3D TVs for a little bit. But who wanted to wear glasses at home?
I'm gonna go buy a 3D TV and get my 3D Blu-ray of Saw 7, and then it'll be a great time.
Okay, just make sure you get the 3D copy of Avatar as well. That like if you had a 3D TV, that was probably the movie that you were going to get. I feel like you had to.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but anyway, we are going to start from the top, and that is 2004's Saw. And I don't think this movie had any intention on starting a franchise. It's kind of its own deal. It was made by James Wan and Lee Winnell. James Wan has gone on to be a big time director, and this is like one of his first movies. He's made the last two Aquaman movies and the first two Conjuring movies. Lee Winnell also has gone on to have a career, recently made The Wolfman and The Invisible Man. Um, but his most important thing is starring as Adam in this movie, which you'll see why he's become such a great actor past this movie. Uh, but this is kind of just, it was a low budget movie. They'd been wanting to get it worked on for a long time, and they finally made a deal with Twisted Pictures. And this movie cost $1 million. And like you said, it was a big deal at the time. Torture porn stuff wasn't really a thing, and this movie made $100 million. So it made 10 times its budget. So you know they had to rush to make sequel after sequel, and they sustained themselves for a while, and it's gained quite a cult fan base. Um, and it's really interesting going back to the first one every time I do, because knowing where the franchise goes, right? And we you kind of alluded to it about how all these movies interconnect and they all have a timeline and it gets convoluted. Going back to this first one, how simple it is. This is all exposition. You have the twist at the end, but it wraps up. You get it. It's not really doing anything crazy. You have a whole complete movie here. It's not leading. You don't have to have any previous knowledge of anything. So it kind of is simple and works on its own, which is I don't know. I think that's what makes this one really interesting to go back to. Um, so
Mm.
I guess it's weird to talk about Saw, like describe the plot really, because it's very there's a lot to it. I won't get into much of the nitty gritty, but what it is it's two people wake up in a bathroom with their legs chained to a pipe. Lee Winnell is one of them, and then Carrie Elwes is in it from Feliday, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
right. Of
yeah.
course, his most well-known role in Philadelphia, which he definitely did do.
He was totally in Feliday, of course. They wake up in there, and there is a dead body in the middle, which, it's an old movie. I think I can spoil this. It's a 20 years
No.
old. No, we have to go over the twist because Saw is all about the twists. In the middle is Tobin Bell, or Jigsaw, which of course you didn't know the first time you watched this movie. It's
Oh, I
just
knew.
Oh, you knew? You were Oh, the Jigsaw
No.
killer's obviously the dead guy in the middle. Yeah, he's got like a gun, and like it's almost like an escape room movie in a way, because they're stuck in a room, they have to find these clues in order to get out. And this movie's brutal, but it does not reach like the brutal lengths of the later franchise. A lot of the traps are simple. Like this one, their legs are literally chained to a pipe, and that's it. And then they get some saws, and the idea is like, oh, you might have to cut off your own leg. You see other traps, like a guy stuck in barbed wire, or of course Amanda with the bear trap on her face. But we're not elaborate yet, right? Like it's pretty simple setups to traps. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I remember thinking it was a little creative, like back in the day, thinking
yeah.
like, especially like the one with like the guy had like a numbers like that he had to look for like on a safe, and like the
Yes.
whole wall was covered in numbers, and he had to use a match to light it up, but like his whole body was can't like covered in flammable liquid.
hmm Yeah, and see, that's another big part of these movies, because these scenes are told from a cop's perspective. So it is a cop movie too. These movies are really obsessed with cops and the people hunting down Jigsaw. And I think one of the questions I had for this movie was, I cannot believe that Danny Glover is in this movie. I really can't. I think that's such a weird pull for like a small, like, his role is important, but he's actually not really in the movie very much as Detective Tapp.
No, and I mean he's easily, I mean maybe him and besides Carrie Elwes, but like
Yeah.
he's probably the biggest name in this
Oh yeah.
movie. And you like you said, it's just like this little small like horror crime like movie thriller or something, like
hmm
it's just like just something that's very gory. You wouldn't think like, oh yeah, let's get Danny Glover in this. And
Yeah, and like if you look like at the making of this movie and they talk to the actors that were in it, like Harry Ellis has a whole thing on why he chose this role and why it really spoke to him at the time. Same with Shawnee Smith, who plays Amanda. She didn't like horror movies, but they really talked her into doing it. Danny Glover, it just says, the cop role spoke to me. That's it. That was his one reason to make. So
the
that
cop role.
screams, I need a paycheck.
Yeah, I like
I like money.
cop roles, but forget about I've already been playing a cop for like decades.
Yeah.
But
But no,
I
this
like
one really works.
this, and I mean, like you said, his character is like plays so little into the plot. Like it
Hmm.
doesn't even like it's more of just like he's like trying to find out who Jigsaw is, and he's basically like let it consume his whole life.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
obsessed cop stereotype.
yeah, because he find out like his partner was murdered by Jigsaw through like one of the traps,
Hmm.
and he just tries to go and find him, but it's like, oh well, Jigsaw like slit his throat, and now he's got this big scar,
Hmm.
and doesn't really happen much after that.
No, exactly. He leads into the ending because Jigsaw does have Zep, who kind of works for him. Is that something a Jigsaw protege? It just pops up a lot later in the franchise, played by Michael Emerson, um,
I'm
and
lost.
from Lost, which is so funny because when I saw Lost, I was like, oh, it's the guy from Saw. Because I didn't know. Uh,
Well, I like I it just didn't. I mean, when I saw, I it I saw it, and then I watched Lost, and that didn't register. And then when I went back and I think I rewatched Saw, and I'm like, oh, Sam.
yeah.
Uh, and then also too, Danny Glover's partner is also in Lost.
Yeah, and I think like that guy, he's in a lot he's in a lot of those J.J. Abrams movies. I'm pretty sure he like plays bit roles in like a ton of his stuff. Lost Connections. I feel like that happens
Lost
more.
Connections.
I like that. But I feel like that happens more often than like you think that like lost actors are in things together.
I mean, instead of Tobin Bell, they should have gotten Terry O'Quinn to play Jigsaw.
It'd be
Like,
such a different, it'd be such a different movie. Even though, once again, isn't it crazy how powerful of a force Tobin Bell is in the Jigsaw movies later on, and how little he's in this movie? It's like a huge reveal at the end because the idea is he gets cancer, and through his death, he kind of wants to teach people a lesson about living. But honestly, this movie doesn't go that in depth with it until probably the franchise gets later when he lays out all of his rules. Tobin Bell also is somebody who's not really in this movie, but I think that's really to set up the ending reveal that the guy that's dead in the middle actually isn't dead and Jigsaw was just there watching the whole time. Which I think is a like looking back now, I think knowing now because that's such a big deal twist, that impact isn't there anymore. But I do remember the first time watching that, totally unexpected. It came out of nowhere. You wouldn't have thought it was going to happen.
I mean, do you think that they were planning for sequels like after this? Like, or do you think it was kind of just like, ooh, that's the dead guy was the killer the whole time?
I don't know. I want to say it. They didn't. And the only reason I say that is because if they did, I really feel like James Wan would have returned to direct another one. But that team left immediately, and it feels like Lionsgate was like, let's just get a sequel going, and they got completely new people to do it. So something tells me no. Um, but yeah, one thing I did read your review, and it is something I agree with. Going back to this one, the acting it's pretty rough. All around, I don't think there's a good performance here.
So like I said, when I originally watched this movie, I liked it quite a
Hmm.
bit. And watching it now, oh man, like it's just all the flaws are just like out there. And like the
Hmm.
acting, especially Adam in this movie, is really
Horrible.
bad.
Yeah, he's so bad in this movie. Even like I know the joke is like there's one point where he smokes like a he pretends to smoke a cigarette that's poison and he pretends to die. And the joke is that he doesn't know how to act like dying, but even that performance still is like really bad. Like he cannot pull it off at all.
Well, he does it like the like most over the top. It's like 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 what
Yeah.
you do like like in a cartoon, like when like
Hmm.
cartoon characters like are pretending to like and he just falls over,
Yeah.
and it's just like, do you really think he's that stupid?
Exactly. They play his character like he's stupid and like the way he's written is very silly. Like, I think one of the first lines he says is like, "Oh, this is the most fun I've had without lubricant," which I heard that I rolled
Oh
my
yeah.
eyes. Um, but one thing I do like about this movie is this movie was shot all in order, which is not usual for movies. And I think I noticed that this time
Well,
watching.
they shot all the Tobin Bell flashbacks from like
Oh,
Saw
sorry.
4 before this.
I should say for this movie, they shot it in order, all the bathroom scenes. Yeah, could you imagine all the prequel stuff when he's young? They shot that already. Um, but yeah, so it was shot all in order, and you could tell because when they're throwing stuff to each other, like leaving keys on the floor and stuff like that, I felt like the editing was pretty good. Where like they started looking for props, or a prop would be lost, and it'd be pretty much in the same spot that it was left in. So you can kind of feel that progression because it if anything, I do like the slow build up and mystery. It's a lot of it's a big exposition movie. It's a lot of talking, them learning each other's past. Like Carrie Elwes was meeting up with somebody who was having an affair with, and Adam was taking photos of him, and that's even a twist because you think, oh, it's his wife hiring him, and no, or Jigsaw hired him, and no, it's Detective Tapp that's hired him to follow him because Detective Tapp thinks Carrie Elwes is the guy. I could get into the plot here. Like, there's more to that I can describe, but one thing to learn about Saw from here on out, it's all plot. It's all a big winding plot of twists and connections. It's gonna be quite a series to describe.
The thing that you the thing you have to be prepared for a lot of these sequel or Saws, I keep want to say Lost, but these sequels to these sequels to Saw
Hmm.
is that even the most minor character might come back in some really huge way just for like
Yeah,
no reason at all and just
and see that's what
uh,
I'm excited to get in the sequels because honestly that's what I love about the franchise because it is so out there. I don't know any other movie series so willing to be like, you remember this side character from 3? All right, he's a big star now. He's Jigsaw's protege for this movie. And there's something fun about those connections and like being dedicated to just doing that. I love seeing it top itself. And I think there's just that is something to enjoy here, along with these movies all have the same beats, and where it starts here is whenever Adam discovers who Zepp is and how he's playing a game as well, and the music starts playing called Zepp's theme, which will keep coming back in these Saw movies. And then it's like this montage reveal of how everything is connected. I love these moments. I love the Saw moment when the music kicks in. There's just something about it that is just so much fun how everything is connecting to each other.
I yeah I like the little bits at the end where they do that too and it's just like oh you remember this oh remember this scene like that
Hmm.
wasn't what you thought it was this whole time and it's
Hmm.
just
It's such a
um
it's such a good time. Um, but oh god, I had something else I wanted to say, but go ahead. So I completely forgot.
oh no I was just gonna say like I wanted to go back to like the acting and I'm like
Hmm.
because like I remember thinking like, oh, Carrie was like, I was like, oh, I remember him being like good in this movie, and then I also watched him again. I'm like, oh, like
No, he's bad.
he's not good in this either. It's like,
There's one specific moment where Adam has hidden a picture from him of his family being held hostage, and he finally shows it to Carrie Elwes, and Carrie Elwes is supposed to be breaking down, like crying over this, and he does not do well. It's crazy.
why would you do that?
Yeah.
Or
And he,
he grabs the phone because like the scene where Zepp has like his wife and daughter
mhm,
kidnapped, and he's like, say goodbye to your why like tell your husband like he failed so you're gonna
mhm.
die now and like Carrie Ellis is like although he's like Diana
Diana.
like
It's so bad, and like he has that whole breakdown scene because another Saw thing. The editing is always just like so insane and stylized. Like where it's like a so bad it's good thing, at least for me. Like that scene where they show like a pass trap with the guy stuck in the barbed wire, and then they speed up the footage and he's like screaming. They always do stuff like that in these movies. And it's so, in any other movie, I'd hate it, but it's so
But
consistent in Saw that I love it.
I didn't mind that one. I will say there is a car chase scene that's
Oh
also
my God.
film,
Yeah.
and I thought that was so stupid.
Well, and
Like,
it looks very cheap because I know the
yeah,
idea was to make the car chase look bigger than it actually was, but it really doesn't.
well, it's clearly like them filmed like it because it's like this big black void behind them. So clearly, like they're not even shooting like on a real street or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like some like back lot where it's like looks like it's night or something, and it's
Yes.
just it'll be like these extreme close-ups and sped up footage of like the car like barely moving, and it's like it's a car chase.
Yeah, it's so poorly done. It's definitely like, I feel it's crazy to say this, but the budget definitely goes up after this one. I feel like you can definitely feel like the low budget part of this, which is why I feel like this era was interesting, the mid 2000s. I feel like low budget movies like this still could be
Mhm.
like real genuine hits, like major hits. It happens now, but this movie kind of came out of nowhere, made by Twisted Pictures. Who the hell knows what Twisted Pictures is? I mean, it doesn't even exist anymore. And I don't know, it somehow caught on like wildfire because people were seeing it in the movie theater.
Oh yeah, well I mean like well then like after this then it's like Paranormal Activity came out like a couple
Yep.
years after that, and it's that one was like had an even smaller budget. It was
Hmm.
like something crazy, it was like filmed for like
It's like
less than a million.
300,000.
Yeah, less than a million, and it was just and it made like 10 times its budget, back or whatever,
Yeah.
just
And I was there. I saw that in the theater. I remember the buzz for that movie was insane. Um, it feels like that we haven't, that's not really as big of a deal anymore because most of the time these movies get picked up and go to streaming. And I feel like maybe they just don't get the
well,
same buzz that they would.
that's how I get if Saw were released today, I think it would be
Yeah.
I think it would be like a Netflix movie or something.
Well, it's funny you say that. This movie actually, when it got picked up by Lionsgate, they had planned a straight to DVD release for it, and then they decided to move it to theatrical.
It seems like a movie like that.
Yeah, and I don't think it would be the same if it did get that straight to DVD release. But now, I mean, I don't want to get too deep into it all. I've already explained the big reveal, Jigsaw at the end. He says game over. How everything is connected. Carrie Elwes, he cuts off his foot. That's like the big moment when he
That's
finally,
like the yeah.
yeah, because everything's built up to that and the blood's squirting and he cuts off his foot. And it's crazy to think that for this franchise, that was like the big, like, nasty moment. Like, oh my God, can you
Uh,
believe we saw that?
oh, I mean, I remember. I mean, even at the time, I remember being
Yeah.
like, "Oh shit!" Like it's
Yeah.
he's cutting off his own foot, and now it's just like I'd be cutting off my own foot like an hour into it. I got to get out of there.
There's a guy on YouTube. I think he finished, but he goes through every Saw movie. And he's like, "This is how I would get out of the trap," and he's done that. And like this one, he was like, "Yeah, I break my own foot," and like blah blah blah. The idea in all of this is that you don't have enough
Can you?
time. I need to go back. It's been a long time since I watched those. And I should say, Saw fans are like insane. Like this movie franchise has a strong fan base, that's for sure, that dissect these movies. And I don't think I when these movies first came out, I remember reading it about online, getting excited for new movies. When they stopped making them, I kind of got out of it. But it definitely is. It's drawn a lot of people in. But Saw One, does it work on its own? Like, do you still think it holds up as just a movie? Like, let's take the context of the sequels out of it.
It's on its own. It has enough cheap thrills in it to make it exciting.
Mhm.
That being said, on a personal level, this movie has not aged as well for me.
I get it. Yeah.
And just like I said, just going back and seeing how bad the acting is and some of the choices. it still has enough to keep me interested. I don't want to make it seem like I hate this movie or anything now, but
Mhm.
like back then I probably would give it like a 4 out of 5 or something like that. Now I'm probably more at like a 3, I would
Yeah.
say. So I just you notice a lot more of the flaws because it's just like I think like it's it's almost like one of those times where you're like you remember this movie being like amazing,
Hmm.
and then you rewatch it and you're just like, oh, like this isn't as good as I thought I remember it being.
Well, yeah,
And
yeah, because I mean, I feel like in 2004 we hadn't seen anything like this, and this is a 20-year-old movie now, and so much has changed in 20 years.
sure. So yeah, I would say like for me, I it's still a decent movie that if anybody that loves, crazy stuff like that, I think they would, get a kick out of it. I mean, but like as its own movie though, it's definitely one you should check out because it is kind of like I mean, it's kind of an iconic movie. I mean,
It is.
I don't want to be like that hyperbolic, but it's just like I mean, like I said, like so many movies like Saw were created after that.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Like, it's iconic status. Like, if you like horror movies, I feel like you don't have to watch the sequels, but you at least have to see this movie because at this point, how influential it is, it's crazy. Um, no,
But
I
but
agree. Oh, go ahead.
the mystery is, but yeah, no, the mystery and stuff like that, that's probably still my favorite part about it.
Yeah, yeah, that exactly. And I think that's what's so enjoyable. No, and I totally agree. And I put my biases fully on the table. This whole series is very nostalgic to me. Brings back good memories rewatching them. And of course, that's going to influence how I feel about it. And I'll just say that up front because I do really enjoy this movie. I know it has flaws. Acting's a little rough. And I don't even know how you'd feel like you've never seen the Saw movies before and you watch it today. I could see you just like hating this thing, like being like, what the hell is this? Why was this such a big deal? But for me, there's just so much joy in that final reveal, everything connecting, and kind of the puzzle story aspect to it, following on the plot lines, and a really gory, bloody movie that I think is a lot of fun. So I always really enjoy this one, and that's why I can't not recommend this one. I have to. It's a recommendation, and I'm excited to dig deeper into the Saw movies.
Absolutely. I mean, I do remember at least one of them. I think it's two that I like probably the best out of the series, I think.
Well, you're not alone in that because Saw 2, I think, adds a very interesting formula to make it a little bit different. But of course, we'll get into that.
I already took all my notes, wrote down all the characters. I can't wait for them to all show up again.
Trust me, I think it's going to be fun watching these actually like month to month, back to back, and having like a very clear memory of all of them and like being able to like connect the pieces a little bit.
Yeah, because I'm waiting like a year or two, and then watching it, I'd be like, "Who was that again?"
Exactly. Yeah. And then we got to play the video game, right? At some point, there's two Saw
I,
games.
I've wanted to play it. I wonder. I have no idea what it's like, so I
I
would be interested.
I played both of them. They're fun. Only problem is they're very expensive nowadays. Like they are rare games, of course. So
Oh, Rare made them. Okay.
yeah, so they're ass. Just kidding.
Donkey
Uh,
Kong is in them.
yeah. Oh, I'd love that. Donkey Kong in a saw trap. He's got to like get away from the banana. He wants a banana. It's like the one with the needle in the middle, but it's a banana, and Donkey Kong has to reach his arms up into like blades to get a banana. I don't know. I'm coming up with ideas here. But no, anyway, that wraps it up for our first entry in the Saw franchise. And guess what? It's 540, so we did it.
We did it.
But Jigsaw will be returning in Saw 2. But Ryan, remind us, what are we going to be covering on Thursday?
Well, Nathan, we are going to be talking about another European classic monster. It's Reptilicus, which is streaming for free on Tubi right now.
Well, I'm excited to watch some Reptilicus, but if you want to email us, you can email us at driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast@gmail.com. You can also be sure to leave a like, comment, whatever you can. We really appreciate it. But until next time.
Until next time.